there's specific electricity out there that you could use, but it will also kill cancer though. But now it's a mental warfare. Why would they need a pizza box? I think I am a gift. Like if I had a kid and they had autism, I'd probably push them harder because that's what they need. America's a bunch of now. Something I would add on about slavery.
Hey everyone, welcome to Steven. I'm Steve.
I'm Steven.
And we have with us John.
The legendary figure from Fishtank, the man, the myth, the legend. He's taking Twitter by storm, so We're really glad to have you here.
And YouTube, already at 10K subs.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
So let's just go ahead and jump on in. Steven, did you want to start?
Yeah, so a fun thing we thought would be is we know you're a big Andrew Tate fan. We see a lot of your messages on Twitter, so we wanted to ask you a little about the Grindset, the grind mindset, and a little bit about what that means to you and what you're trying to spread on Twitter.
So I guess the Grindset and what I'm trying to spread on Twitter. So I don't know if you guys know, I have 2 jobs and I run a couple of businesses. You know, on the weekends, I drive a party bus, which pays $35 an hour. During the week, I'm a commercial loan broker. And then obviously I have the streets business. I got a restaurant, and then I do modeling on the side. So like, this is how I see things. If I'm not working to make money, if I'm not learning or working out, I'm wasting time.
Mm-hmm. I see.
So I do one of those 3 things. If I'm not doing it, then, you know, I stop whatever I'm doing and go back to it. And what I'm trying to do on Twitter, you know, I'm trying to get people riled up and do the same thing essentially.
Mm-hmm. Getting them to start their own businesses and take on
be
the
more
Grindset.
Independent from the government, usually. That's what I'm trying to strive towards.
Okay, good. That's good. That's good to know. So I guess in your endeavor of trying to tackle all of these different businesses, what do you think is the best avenue for somebody trying to become independent from those from those outlets that you currently like work in?
I think if someone wants to become like independent, like away from the government, the first step they need to do is not being addicted to social media. That's a big one. If you're going to be addicted to it, at least make content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, usually. Another big one is stop watching TV and movies. I don't even own a TV, you know, for like the past 6 months. That's a big one. And then learning how not to let his time and energy gets taken away. So lots of guys would be out there, you know, they'd be texting a chick, okay? And that chick is taking time, energy, and usually money away too.
You got to be careful. They're sneaky.
If you don't see a future with that chick, drop it.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point of messing around.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about the modeling. I saw on Twitter you kind of clarified that you've been doing this. It wasn't because of your time on Fishtank that you were already doing it. So talk about that more. Is that a side hustle, or do you see that as something you're going to keep doing and maybe making a bigger focus for you going forward?
As of right now, it's more of a side hustle. If an agency picks me up, there's a couple I've talked to in Oregon. I don't know if I want to go with them though, because some of the morals. But as of right now, I'm kind of like independent model. It's just a side hustle that I do if I have time, if it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I'd imagine it would be pretty difficult to find people involved in like the modeling industry who aren't complete, I guess for lack of a better term, like shit libs.
No, it's true. It's true.
So how do you persevere through that? Do you just kind of have to keep it quiet when you're on, you know, the shoot and just like, I got to get this job done? Or do they tend to not really care too much about that stuff and care more about, I guess, the art of modeling?
I'm not too sure. Could you rephrase that question actually?
Yeah. I guess what I was saying is like, do the politics of the modeling agencies or just the people that you do shoots for, their like political beliefs tend to seep in to the work that they have you do?
Oh, it most definitely can be. Yeah, depending on who you work with. And it depends on what they're doing too. Like, let's say if that photographer is a freelance, you know, they're going to be doing more of their own thing. Versus if the photographer is, sorry, my bad.
Oh, it's okay.
Computer was dying. But versus like a photographer that's getting paid by a company to take a specific picture, then it's usually more straightforward, and it's not nothing is getting political then. So you gotta like dig through and see what photographers or what companies you want to work with.
Have you ever been on a shoot and someone's tried to get you to like, I don't know, like hold up a picture of George Floyd or something, and you're like, hey, I don't want to hold this up, or anything that extreme?
Not that. There's like the craziest story I got from modeling is one I dodged. There was this guy up in Portland who wanted me to go up there. I was like, okay, So I looked into him, and it was like this old dude in his 60s. He said he was a photographer for 20 years. He had no website or any Instagram pictures. I'm like, okay. It's like, what's the address? He sends me the address. It goes to a fucking metal junkyard, like scrapyard. I'm like, okay, this is already a red flag.
Yeah.
And so then I text him like, hey, I'm going to bring one of my friends with me too, just because they want to see how it's done. He started flipping out on me, saying that's how unprofessional that is, blah, blah, blah. And usually if someone flips out when you say you want to bring a friend, that's kind of like, this person's going to try something, usually. So I didn't end up going to that one. But there's a whole bunch of sketchy ones out there. You have to, especially if you find them on Craigslist. Like 80% of the time, they're trash.
Mm-hmm. So I guess did you find the Fishtank ad on Craigslist? I think, is that?
I did, yeah.
So you were just like roaming around looking for modeling gigs, and then that kind of enticed you. What about the ads drew you to, I guess, responding? So
I respond to every single ad I find. It's like a numbers games to me. Mm-hmm. I don't care what it is. Like, oh, respond. And if they get back to me, then I look at what it is. And they got back to me. I sent them that video they wanted. And then they wanted another video. And I was in the process of moving at that time, and I just forgot about them. And then a month later, they hit me back up saying they want an interview. I'm like, oh, who are you guys again? And then we had that interview, and they put me on the trailer.
And we won't go too into Fishtank, but I was wondering if there is a season 2 or another opportunity. Are you interested in something like that? Did you like that part of the experience?
If there's another opportunity for me to work with Sam, I probably will take it. Mm-hmm. I don't see why not.
Yeah. So I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about some politics. I saw a couple of your tweets that I thought were interesting. So there was one I think you just had yesterday, and it was about that there are cures for cancer out there that you're not going to hear it, from a doctor. You're not going to get it at the doctor. Oh, yeah. So what are some of those things?
So there's a few different types. One is sound waves. There's specific sound waves that can actually kill cancer. And something that most people don't know, electricity can either promote cancer or promote health. So the power that our laptop runs off of, or the house, TV, cell phones, it actually promotes cancer. Mm-hmm. It's designed that for a reason. Now, there's specific electricity out there that you could use that won't even hurt you if you got shocked by it, and it won't kill you, but it will also kill cancer though. So sound waves, electricity, the specific types, I have to see what the name is for it. And then there's lots of different plants out there too. There's this one plant, for example, in India. There is a common practice out there. It's called a Jellica keys, I believe. Certain parts of that plant's life is actually extremely poisonous, and other times has really medical benefits use. And usually what they would do when they would use it, they would eat the sap of it for about 2 weeks straight if they got a cancer on STD or something like that, and then it would get rid of it. A drink that lots of people, my friend who lives here locally, he's about 60, he did this to get rid of his cancer. He would just have a glass of water, he put a whole fresh lemon in there, like squeeze the juice, a spoonful or two of honey, and then sea salt, baking soda. And if you don't got honey, you could use molasses instead. If you do that every day, that could get rid of cancer too. There's countless things out there that's been proven to work, but it's not in the mainstream. And the reason why, because think about it, if everyone knew about these things, who's going to make all that money on chemo?
Yeah, not the pharmaceutical companies, not the hospitals anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly, because that drink alone, it costs under $5 to make. Chemo is thousands and thousands, so
that's true.
there's a reason why it's not publicly known, and doctors will fawn upon people who are doing it.
That's true. Yeah, I also think just our the diet too in America in general is kind of like a breeding ground for all types of diseases because of how like sterile and unnatural all of our food is.
Yes, most definitely. It's something that most people don't realize. Sugar, for example, is the leading cause for almost all diseases, from cancer, heart disease, diabetes, strokes, anything you could think of that could kill you. It usually comes from cancer, and cancer speeds up your aging process too. Sugar is just bad for you in general in every aspect.
Yeah,
and cancer also feeds off of it too.
So that's what they feed us too. That's like the number one thing they want us to have, and probably high fructose corn syrup as well.
Yeah.
So when did you? Because I've seen some videos too. I wanted to ask about this. You drink raw milk and egg yolks or eggs. You drink the white part of the eggs too?
Yeah, I do.
When did you start doing that? How did you test that out?
Yeah, so I started that when I was firefighting. Actually, the person who showed me it the first time, he was in a video we made it together drinking raw eggs. He was the guy who introduced that to me while I was doing wildland firefighting. And I don't know, ever since then I've been doing it.
Yeah, I've actually been I have to, because of where we live, I have to drive out to a farm, and I own like a share of a cow just to get raw milk. I get it twice a week, so I drink a gallon a week. And I mean, if that with some honey and some like egg yolks, that will fill me up for breakfast for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
But have you heard of like the primal diet where people eat like raw meat for the bacteria, or like raw liver?
See, I didn't know that was like an actual diet. I've eaten raw liver before. Usually when I cook my steaks, I like just to cook the outside and keep this inside raw. So I guess in a sense I kind of do it sometimes, but like I'm not on point, and like that's the only thing I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing I had tried for a while. It's pretty good. Raw meat is honestly, once I started eating it, cooked meat just didn't sit well with me. So I don't know. It's an interesting, but it has the same idea of the bacteria being healthier for your body and helping build your immune system, as opposed to replacing all of those nutrients with carcinogens when you're cooking it. So, but I think, I don't remember what my question was going to be. I don't think I had a conclusion to that. I was just curious. Yeah, go ahead.
I will ask you, what is the kind of state of affairs with Andrew Tate right now? Are they setting him up completely, the investigations and everything going on, or what? How do you see that? I haven't followed it super closely, but I was kind of following before that arrest happened.
So from what I have seen, I haven't seen any proof. So, it would lead to believe there was a setup if there's no proof yet. There's been lots of things that got released through social media that's been proven to be false. But I haven't seen any concrete proof. And I already knew Andrew Tate was going to get released eventually, because I knew they had nothing on him. Just because if you know Andrew Tate, the type of person he is, he likes to control the outcome of things. So he's very particular on what happens. And if you're always like that, why would you be stupid and do something, So it doesn't make sense.
Do you think, did the pizza box thing, because people were saying when he made that Twitter video about Greta Thunberg, he had like a pizza box that was from like a Romanian restaurant, and that's what led to him getting arrested. Do you think that had nothing to do with his arrest, or that he intentionally kind of gave out his location to the authorities to get arrested, part of a grander plan?
I think if the authority says they caught him because of the pizza box, I wouldn't believe that. So I guarantee they'd probably be tracking his location. You can track people with their IP address. So if someone makes a tweet post, you know where they're located then.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Why would they need a pizza box?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
It's just a good way to pin it and turn it into a meme for everyone on Twitter, you know,
exactly. It was what it was for. It was a perfect time to make a big news, because anytime something explodes in the media, you guys say to yourself, what are they hiding? What's actually going on behind the scenes that they don't want you to see?
Do you know or have any idea of what they could have possibly been hiding and were using Andrew Tate's arrest to cover up?
Well, if you know Epstein Island shit, the Pizzagate stuff was going to trial the day before he got arrested.
Oh. So, and now someone has that island. Someone bought it recently, but I don't know. We don't know who.
So we did want to ask you a little bit about autism awareness and everything. I saw that on your Twitter, and we've seen like the photo shoot with it and everything. What's that mean to you? Why is that a cause you're into? And kind of elaborate on that.
So I feel like, me personally, how I see autism, I feel like too many people who have autism are coddled and are kind of like taken care of like as a baby for too long. And me personally, I feel like if I haven't been in all those situations I've been in and done all those things I've done, I'd probably be just like, I probably wouldn't be doing anything with my life. I'd probably be at my mom's house in her bedroom, or my old bedroom, playing video games. You know, like literally, if I never got into all these situations, I would be a nobody, essentially. So I feel like people with autism, they need to get pushed outside of their comfort zones. Like if I had a kid and they had autism, I would not baby them. I'd probably push them harder than a regular person, because that's what they need.
Yeah. And a lot of times autistic people have a certain like set of skills. And so if you let those flourish, then you can have somebody who's incredibly productive and happy.
Most definitely.
Okay, another thing I wanted to ask you about a little bit is your name. I see you've mentioned it a couple of times. Your name means gift of God. Jonathan, the full name means it. So how do you feel like you are a gift? I mean, this is maybe a little bit more of a fun, up in the air question, but.
I think I am a gift, because usually every person I've ever entered their life, I feel like I've always done something for them in some way, something positive. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I truly do feel like I'm a gift from God. I feel like my presence has taught many people, not just from being an influencer, just like on my regular day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you're...
I think...
Oh, go ahead.
I think meanings to names have a powerful... It's powerful. Same thing with the words you speak are extremely powerful. They usually come to be true.
Yeah, I definitely, that's something I think about and believe too. And I think like today too, with our culture, like, because something that has resonated with me and stuck with me for so long is when Kanye West said that slavery is a choice. I was in like 2018. But when I go around and I see all the people that I just encounter on a day-to-day basis, hearing how they like mentally cage themselves into their own prison just by the way that they talk about themselves and look down upon themselves, they don't realize that they're the ones that are like creating their own little prison there. So I definitely agree. There are big powers in the words that you speak and thoughts that you have about yourself.
Something I would add on about slavery, I would say slavery has never been gone.
Gone.
I would say the slave masters have developed new tactics to trick the population. Because think about it, back in the day, when you were a slave, you had they provided you a shelter, they provided you with food, and they provided you with transport to go to work, usually, okay? Or they got you there and back. Okay, now, what's the difference? Well, now you have to pay taxes, okay? As a slave, you didn't pay taxes. Now you have to go out and get your own food. You have to go out and get his own transportation. You have to go out and get his own shelter, okay? Just to go to work, barely make enough money to make ends meet for the mass population, and then go to bed and then wake back up and do that all again by choice.
It's created an illusion of freedom, really. Yeah.
It is. So it's by choice now Versus back then, you were physically forced to, but now it's a mental warfare instead.
Yeah, it's very different.
And the only way to get out of it, there's two ways. You either don't fucking pour and you're homeless, or you make a shit ton of money and get out of it. That's the only way it's out.
Yeah, and I actually, you know what? I think there was a period after slavery was banned in America for like 20 years where a bunch of slaves just died because they didn't know how to like go out and get land or, you know, like provide for themselves because they had lived their lives having someone else take care of it for them, which is kind of odd. And I think they probably couldn't have gotten work or whatnot, but
I was going to ask you a little bit about alpha males. Okay. How is alpha male, being an alpha, is that something that's innate to someone? Is it something people develop? Do you just have it? Is it something that, you know?
I feel like anyone could be an alpha, but they have to learn the proper skills. And I think a lot of people, when they think about alpha, they think about the strongest dude in the room. That's usually not the case. Usually the alpha is someone who can build up everyone around them and help them grow and flourish themselves. The alpha is usually the one who tries to provide for everyone and take care of everyone. But I feel like more often now when people think of alpha, they think of, you know, like a bully, you know, someone who's going take their shit and do what they want. You know, like I feel like that's more like a beta male, and they're usually aggression and physical violence to get what they want instead of, because, you know, I feel like the proper alpha, like think about it, if you brought everyone up and you helped everyone, everyone's going to look up to you always. And that's what I feel like is what really comes down to alpha, is helping people and taking care of them and providing for a group. And I think that's a skill anyone could learn.
Have you spotted are there any, I guess, content creators that you see who are like posing as alphas that are, you know, false alphas, I guess?
Yeah, almost everyone.
What? Oh, go ahead.
If usually if someone says they're an alpha, it's because they want that status thing. If someone's an alpha, they don't say it because they're not cocky usually either. They're just who they are. But if someone's saying I'm the alpha all the fucking time,
they're being fucking tryhards. They're being tryhards.
Yeah.
It's just like someone who says they're a good person. I'm a good person. You can trust me. They're usually not a good person. You usually can't trust them.
Very true. They've got something to hide if they're trying to divert your attention elsewhere. What about Sigma males? Do those exist? Are those real?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know the exact definition of Sigma, so I won't give my 2 cents on that.
I would say I'm a Sigma, I guess, is what we've decided. We're the, which means I'm not a Sigma because I just diagnosed myself. So I guess that'd be a beta thing in real life, but I would like to think so. But what else is there? There's like what? Delta, Gamma.
Yeah, there's so
Kappa.
many now. But a lot of it's just for people to identify themselves. You really just want to live like your fullest, truest to yourself life, being an individual, and then the labels and everything kind of fall away.
Yeah, most definitely.
So what else did you have?
I was going to also ask real quick. So you didn't, back to, I guess, just like Sam and $1 Million Extreme in general, you weren't aware of Sam's content prior to like joining Fishtank, but have you watched any of his videos after being on Fishtank? And do you have any?
So, I actually watched some of his videos about a month prior, just by random. And that's how I recognized him when he walked in. It's like, oh, I've watched his videos about a month or two ago. But I haven't gone out shouting my way looking for his content. I've just been too busy to do that. But what I did watch from a couple, month or two ago, that content was pretty good because it wasn't, the jokes and on that. It was like he was giving helpful information in the ones I did watch.
Yeah, it caught me by surprise when I was watching his videos for the jokes and then thrown off guard by the actual helpful, useful advice instead of the fake. A lot of self-help gurus will give you like fake advice that kind of keeps you trapped, where he was like, no, you need a good skill and have different revenue streams.
Yeah, you do.
It's really that simple. I think some other lighthearted things that we wanted to kind of wrap up on, because we're getting about to that 30-minute mark. if you had to diagnose yourself as a Family Guy character, which character would you?
We doesn't watch TV, but
you know what Family Guy is.
I watched Family Guy when I was younger.
There we go.
I'd probably do the dog.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was such a ridiculous question. We know that was a dumb question.
Yeah. We didn't know where to fit it in either. So.
Okay, and then you are going to try to get on Rogan eventually. People are going to keep tweeting at him. I saw the poll you had up. You feel like
I truly do feel like if Rogan had me on his podcast, he would enjoy talking to me.
Yeah.
Would you be
just
more? Go ahead.
Just because of the way my life has gone, and like I've seen some of his people guests he's had on before, and I feel like I'd be right up there with some of the stories.
Yeah.
And a lot of guests he's had on recently are just, they're not good. They don't have good stories. So,
or he gets repeat guests. So it's like, just make time for John, Joe. Come on.
Yeah.
Just get him on there.
Maybe he's intimidated because you guys share the first two letters in your name. He's like, it's a little too close. But would you be more excited to go on Joe Rogan's podcast, or I guess have the opportunity to interview the Tate brothers?
I would, if I had to pick one, I would probably I like both of them a lot for different reasons. But if I had to pick one, I would probably pick Andrew Tate, because I feel like he's more business orientated, and that's what I'm focusing as of right now in my life. But if I had the choice to do both, I would do both without a doubt. I wouldn't even think about that.
Oh yeah, that'd be the dream. All right. So I think, is that all the questions that we have? We kind of gone through everything, and we're about at that 30-minute mark, so we won't take much more of your time, but we just want to say thank you so much for doing this interview, and I'll send you the raw video, and I'll let you know when this is all coming out. And if you have any social media stuff, any accounts from any platform, just send them to me and I'll put them in the video. And I guess before we go, do you have any current projects that you're working on right now that you want to shout out?
Nothing. Well, I have something I have an idea of doing in a couple of months, maybe a month or two. I'm thinking about doing coaching, one-on-one coaching. I'm thinking about doing that. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'd be good at that because I've done it before for people for free, just like people who I care about, to help them get their life in order. Because I do spend a lot of time in learning in many different areas, from fitness to health, on how to eat or what to eat and what to avoid, from business related things too. And I know a lot about human behavior too. So I don't know. I kind of know a little bit of everything essentially.
Okay.
Which I feel like I'd be good at.
Yeah, and you're great on Twitter too. You've been putting out a lot of good stuff. I think people can start gravitating to that and seeing a lot of the messages you have.
What's your guys' favorite tweet I've done?
The one from actually from today that's been sticking with me was the one about that you were going through your emails, only because I was thinking you were just covering up our email conversation in that video. And so that one was my current favorite one.
No, I like the one, and you kind of referenced it earlier about taxes. I like that one. It's like we started a revolution for 3% taxes in 1775.
Oh yeah.
And now look how much we're getting fucked in the ass. That's not your words, those are mine, but that's basically what
it's true. Yeah, no. America's a bunch of pussies now.
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt, you can't deny that.
Yeah.
No, that's very, very true. So, okay. Well, John, once again, thank you for joining the Steven podcast as the first guest.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
But talk to you later.
Peace.